We all want AI that's super powerful, right? But here's the catch. What if all that power makes it incredibly slow and expensive? Well, today, we're going to dive into a really cool technique that promises to give us the best of both worlds. We're talking smarter, leaner, and way faster AI.
This is probably the central question in AI right now. Is bigger always better? I mean, we see these absolutely massive models doing unbelievable things, but it makes you wonder, is the only path forward just to keep piling on more layers, more parameters? Or, just maybe, is there a smarter way to go about it?
And this right here really lays out the problem perfectly. It's a classic trade-off. On the one hand, you've got all the power you could want, higher accuracy, more capabilities. But on the other side of the coin, the cost. These things get slower, they get bigger, and they get way more expensive. And that trade-off, well, it's a huge roadblock when you're trying to actually use this stuff in the real world.
So that brings us to what feels like an impossible choice. How do you shrink a model down without making it, well, dumber? This is a fundamental challenge in machine learning. On the surface, it sounds simple, right? Just make it smaller. But trust me, underneath, it's incredibly complex. That challenge has a name. It's called subset selection. Okay, think of it like this. Imagine you're building the most efficient race car ever. You're standing in a massive warehouse with millions of parts. Subset selection is your job. You have to pick the absolute best, most essential combination of parts and leave all the extra heavy, useless junk behind. It's all about finding that perfect, lean recipe for peak performance. Now, here's where it gets really tricky. This problem is what's known as NP-hard. And in computer science, that's a huge deal. It basically means that trying to find the perfect answer by checking every single possible combination is, well, it's pretty much impossible to do in any reasonable amount of time. The number of possibilities just explodes. It's astronomical. So, okay, if you can't just brute force your way through an impossible problem, what do? You get smarter. You need a better strategy. And that, my friends, is where our hero of the day enters the picture, a technique called sequential attention. It's a really elegant and clever solution to the seemingly impossible choice.
Let's break this down with a sports analogy, because it makes perfect sense. The old way, the one-shot method, is like drafting your entire team at once, just based on their individual stats. You might end up with 5 amazing quarterbacks, but no one to block for them. It's a disaster. Now, sequential attention? That's the smart coach. It picks one superstar player, and then it reevaluates every other player to see who best complements the person already on the team. It's all about synergy. So how does it actually do this? Let's walk through the steps. First, it picks the single most important feature, the one with the highest individual score. Easy enough. But then, and this is the magic right here, it reevaluates all the other features based on that first pick. It's literally scoring them on how much new value they bring to the table. It's looking for something that doesn't just repeat what the first one already did. Then it picks the one that adds the most new information. And it just keeps repeating that process, one by one, intelligently building out this perfect little team of features. So what you get out of this is pretty incredible. We're talking 3 huge benefits. First, it's efficient and accurate. You get fast results without sacrificing performance, which is awesome. Second, it's interpretable. You can actually see why the model is making its choices. You see the order of importance it figures out. And third, it's scalable. This thing can handle the millions, even billions of features you find in today's massive AI models. It's a total game changer. Okay, so that's the theory, which sounds great, but how does it actually stack up in the real world? Let's take a look at where sequential attention is already making a real impact. All right, application number 1 is exactly where we started, smarter feature selection. This is all about picking the most important input data for your model. And this applies to so many fields, whether you're talking about medical imaging, figuring out what someone's doing from sensor data, or even analyzing proteins.
And the results? They're pretty stunning. I mean, the researchers found it drastically improved efficiency. And what that really means is, instead of having to do a bunch of expensive, time-consuming retraining cycles, this method can find the best features in just one pass. That is a massive, massive leap forward in speed.
But it doesn't stop there. The second application is honestly even more ambitious. It's called model pruning. Now, we're not just picking the best inputs anymore. We're talking about taking an existing neural network and literally removing entire chunks of it, entire blocks, to make the whole thing smaller and faster. It's a pretty wild idea. And guess what? It works. A version of this called Sequential Attention Plus Plus showed significant gains in model compression and efficiency without sacrificing accuracy. And folks, that is the holy grail of AI optimization. You're making the model leaner, you're making it faster for all the fancy hardware like GPUs, and you're doing it without losing its smarts. That's the dream.
And believe me, these two applications are really just the tip of the iceberg. The success of this technique is blowing the doors open on a whole new frontier for efficient AI. We're heading towards a future where making our models better is way smarter, way faster, and much more automatic.
Just look at all the potential here. We're talking about some seriously far-reaching stuff. Think about making those huge large language models, the ones everyone's talking about, more accessible to everyone, or speeding up crucial work in drug discovery and genomics. Even building smarter recommender systems, like the ones that suggest movies or products. In all of these areas, being more efficient isn't just nice, it's absolutely critical.
You see, the ultimate goal here isn't just about shrinking models. It's bigger than that. It's about making sure that as AI gets more and more powerful, it doesn't just become a tool for a select few with giant supercomputers. It's about keeping it accessible to everyone. It's about finding that perfect balance between power and accessibility. It's about democratizing AI.
So, I want to leave you with this question. For a second, just forget all the technical jargon we've talked about. Just imagine the possibilities. What if, tomorrow, the most powerful AI models in the world were suddenly 10 times smaller, 10 times faster, and 10 times cheaper to run? What problem would you solve? What incredible idea could you finally bring to life? Because that is the future this kind of work is building.